Hey everyone, welcome back to Learn Splunk Easy. Today, we're diving into the world of Splunk and cloud computing. I'm going to show you how to install Splunk Enterprise using a tar file on a Google Cloud VM. But remember, these steps can be applied to any cloud provider like AWS, Azure, or others. Let's get started. First, we need to prepare our cloud instance. Configure your VM based on your needs. For Splunk, a VM with at least 2 vCPUs and 4 GB of RAM is a good starting point. Once your VM is up and running, connect to it via SSH. Our VM is already set up and configured in Mobus term for SSH connections. So let's connect to our VM. Now, let's open the Mobus term application. Once it is open, navigate to and select the connection for Splunk Server 1. This is the virtual machine that we will be using for the installation of Splunk. Now, let's prepare our VM by updating the package lists. Depending on the operating system of your VM, you should use the appropriate command to ensure that your package information is current. For Debian or Ubuntu-based systems, use sudo apt update. For CentOS or RHEL-based systems, use sudo yum update. This process will refresh the package lists and ensure that you have the latest updates available for installation. Next, we need to install some essential dependencies. These dependencies include wget, which is used for downloading files, and tar, which is used for extraction. To install these packages, use the following commands based on your VM's operating system. For Debian or Ubuntu-based systems, run sudo apt-get install wget tar. For CentOS or RHEL-based systems, run sudo yum install wget tar. These commands will ensure that both wget and tar are installed and available for use. Now, let's download the Splunk tar file. First, open your web browser and navigate to www.splunk.com. Once on the Splunk homepage, locate and click on the Login button. Enter your Splunk account credentials, and then click Login button to log in into your account. After you have successfully logged in, look for the Products drop-down menu on the website. From this menu, select Splunk Enterprise, which is listed under the Platform section. On the next page, choose the free trial option to proceed with downloading the software. Once you are on the free trial page, find and click on the Linux tab. Locate the Copy Get Link button associated with the .tgz file. Click this button to copy the download link to your clipboard. Next, go back to your terminal and navigate to the /opt directory using the command cd/opt-enter. To start the download, use sudo followed by the paste command to insert the copied link. Press enter to execute the command. This process will download the Splunk Enterprise.tgz file directly into the /opt directory on your VM. Now, let's extract the tar file using the tar command. To do this, you'll need to run the following command in your terminal: sudo tar -xvzfsplunk.tgz. Here's what each part of the command does. Sudo runs the command with superuser privileges, which is often required for extracting files to certain directories. Tar is the command used for handling tar files. X tells tar to extract the contents of the file. V stands for verbose, so you'll see a list of the files being extracted. Z indicates that the file is compressed with gzip, so tar will decompress it as it extracts. F specifies the file to work with, which in this case is splunk.tgz. Make sure you are in the directory where the splunk.tgz file is located before running this command. Use pwd command to know the present working directory. If you are in the same directory, then run sudo tar -xvzfsplunk.tgz. This will extract all the contents of the splunk.tgz file into the current directory that is /opt. The download and extraction of Splunk Enterprise are now complete. Next, we need to get Splunk up and running. However, before we start Splunk, we need to address a few important steps. Since we used a.tgz file for installation, the Splunk user and group are not created automatically. It's a best practice to run Splunk under a non-root user for better security. So let's create the Splunk user and group. Follow these commands. First, create the Splunk group by running the following command: sudo group add Splunk. This command sets up a new group called Splunk. Next, create the Splunk user and add this user to the Splunk group. Use the command sudo user add -d/opt/splunk -m-g splunk. Let me break down this command for you. d/opt/splunk. This option specifies the home directory for the Splunk user. In this case, it's set to /opt/splunk. This directory will be where the user's files are stored. This flag ensures that the home directory is created if it doesn't already exist. Splunk. This sets the primary group for the user to Splunk. Splunk. This is the username that will be created. By creating a dedicated user and group for Splunk, you're ensuring that the application runs with the appropriate permissions, enhancing the security and manageability of your system. Now let's go back to terminal and run those commands. First, we will create Splunk group by running command sudo group add Splunk. Next, we create the Splunk user and add this user to the Splunk group by running command sudo user add -d/opt/splunk -m-g splunk. Now, let's change to Splunk user using the command sudo su-splunk. This command will change the current user to Splunk user. As we set home directory of Splunk user to /opt/splunk, so when we change to Splunk user, it should navigate to /opt/splunk. You can check this by running pwd command. Now, as we created Splunk user and group, let's apply this to /opt/splunk directory. We can do this by running the command chown-r splunk:/splunk. This will change the user and group of all the files, directories, and subdirectories to Splunk. Let's exit from Splunk user using the command exit. Navigate to /opt directory using command cd/opt. Now run the command ls-l to check the current user and group of Splunk directory. Now, run the command sudo chown-r splunk:/splunk to change the user and group of Splunk directory to Splunk. Now, run command ls-l again to check the user and group of Splunk directory. As we can see, it's now changed to Splunk. Now let's start Splunk as Splunk user. So change again to Splunk user by running command sudo su-splunk. Now let's navigate to /opt/splunk/bin directory using command cd/opt/splunk/bin. Inside bin directory, we can find Splunk binary file, which will be used for starting or stopping or doing other operations on Splunk from CLI. As we are starting Splunk for first time, we need to accept license. Now let's run the command /splunk start --accept -license. This will prompt you to enter username and password, follow the on-screen instructions, and create credentials. That's it. Now Splunk is up and running. You can access Splunk web interface from browser. Now let's open browser and enter your Cloud VM public IP:8000 in the address bar. To access this, first you need to add 8000 port in your cloud security group as an inbound or ingress rule. then only you will be able to access Splunk web interface. Now enter your Splunk credentials that you created while accepting license and click Sign In. That's it. This is how you need to install, start, and access Splunk web interface in Cloud VM. Before we close this video, I'd like to add one more important step: enabling boot start for Splunk. This step ensures that Splunk will automatically start every time you boot up your Cloud VM. By configuring Splunk to start on boot, you won't need to manually start each time the VM is restarted. Enabling boot start will set up Splunk to launch automatically whenever the system starts, which can be very convenient and helps ensure that Splunk is always running and available. To enable this feature, let's return to the terminal. First, you need to run the command as the root user. To switch back from the Splunk user to the default user, use the command exit. This command will log you out from the Splunk user session and return you to the default user account. Once you are back to the default user, execute the command sudo/opt/splunk/bin/splunk enable boot-start. His command sets up Splunk to start automatically each time your VM boots up, ensuring that Splunk is always running without needing manual intervention. And that's a wrap. Splunk is all set up on your Cloud VM. If you found this useful, hit like and subscribe for more tips. Got questions? Drop a comment below. Thanks for watching.